Am I the asshole for not paying for my brother and his family's vacation? I, 28F, have an older brother Adam, 30M, and my Stephanie Sil, 28F. Every year my family and I take a big trip and time of year depends on everyone's schedules. This year we collectively agreed for the second week in December. Those going on the trip include my husband Justin, 33M, and I, our twin 2-year-olds, my parents, and my brother, Sil and their 3-year-old. My mom always makes all of the travel arrangements to ensure everyone is on the same flights, kids sit with parents, hotels are the same, etc. Everyone is on their own for getting to and from the airport at home, but my mom makes car arrangements from the destination airport to the hotel and hotel to airport when leaving. While my mom makes the arrangements, my husband and I always Venmo my mom for our portion of flights and hotels. My brother and Sil do the same thing. This year everyone agreed to Disney World in Orlando. My mom as usual made all the reservations and whatnot about 2 months ago. My husband and I paid my mom our portion about a week after the reservations were made. Last night Adam texted husband asking if we had paid my parents yet. He said we had a while back. Adam then asked Justin if we could pay his family's portion of the trip. Not sure if everyone has been to Disney, but it's ridiculously expensive these days. Justin told him we couldn't swing it with our budget at the time. We both work full-time and make decent money, but we don't have the kind of money that is just throw away. My brother and Sil both also work full-time, and my nephew is not in daycare. My brother's mother-in-law watches him free, while we pay for 2 kids in daycare. Adam responded with, "Well okay then," and quit texting him. Cue to this morning where I woke up to several texts from Adam calling Justin an asshole for nothing being a good brother and paying for their family. I told Adam I agreed with Justin and we just can't swing the money for them in our budget. I apologized and told Adam he was out of line for calling Justin an asshole and wouldn't stand for it. Adam again asked me to pay and said it could be our Christmas present to him, my Sil and my nephew. If I had the spare money to do it that way, I would. But I don't have the ability to do that, so I can't. I told him I couldn't do it and told him to reach out to our parents about a payment plan or something. Adam called Justin and I Oz and said we ruined their vacation. I'm kind of surprised by my brother's behavior, but are Justin and I the assholes here? Quick update number 1. Will be 1 a little later. I'm still at work, but I took the advice of a few on here and reached out to both my mom and Sil, separately, and let them know what Adam did. My mom and Stephanie both confirmed their portion of the trip has already been paid, and has been for months. Stephanie had no idea Adam had reached out to Justin and doesn't know why he would. She said she would rein him in and apologize to me for his request. For those asking why we planned this trip when my brother and Sil couldn't afford it, Disney was their idea. After everyone checked on finances we all agreed and my mom started making arrangements within provided budgets at that point. Sorry that wasn't clear in my initial post. I'm dealing with this at work. Quick update number 2. I'm sitting in the parking lot at work before I get my kids and head home, but I have some more info. I need to preface this by saying I dearly love my brother, but oh my goodness, I have no idea how this is my life right now. My Sil talked to my brother. I didn't know until today they have separate checking accounts and a joint savings. Their own account is their fun money to use as they please, joint account used for shared, household expenses. My husband and I do this as well, cuts down majorly on money arguments, 11/10 would recommend. Anyways, Adam apparently ordered my Sil a pair of diamond studs as a Christmas present and was charged 3 times for the same item from Tiffany's. Rather than dealing with the bank, Tiffany's, he panicked and thought he could get money from Justin and I to make up for it. I feel bad for him but literally laughing at the moment. More to come. Third and final update. So my brother and Sil brought my husband and I dinner and to talk about what happened over the last day. My brother did in fact show up with bank statements confirming the triple charge from Tiffany's. However, when he explained what happened, it wasn't a mistake from Tiffany's but rather a user error on his end. Adam is pretty impatient, and when the page did not automatically refresh from the screen where payment info is put into the confirmation page where the order is confirmed, he hit the submit button in his words, a few times, so in fact he ordered 3 pairs of earrings. He apologized to both Justin and I, as well as my Sil. He also is meeting with our parents tomorrow to apologize to them in person. While I was initially pissed with him, Justin and I both forgave. Don't think for 1 second though Reddit. That this will not be brought up every time he makes fun of me for the time I tried getting out of his truck with my seatbelt still on. Lol. My brother has since called Tiffany's to cancel the 2 erroneous purchased pairs of earrings. I'm sad for my Sil that it's no longer a surprise and told my brother if manages to do this again to just ask for help rather than make up some bullshit. He said he went to Justin first think he would be less likely to make fun of him than I. Totally right. He couldn't bring himself to own his mistake out of embarrassment, which I get, but I told him just be honest and not hostile. All that said, I only have a little while longer in the day to cuddle my baby, so I'll be doing that. Enjoy your weekend, Reddit. I know I will. Vacation trips aren't something everyone is entitled to. If they can't afford to go, they can't afford to go. They asked for help, you declined. That should be the end of the story. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. These kind of people blow my mind. How does entitlement like this develop? Was Adam completely spoiled growing up? Has he never had to live in the real world where things aren't just handed to him because he wants them? WTF? Not the asshole. His request is so ridiculous that I don't understand how you can write this post instead of rolling in laughter. Not the asshole. You're obviously not in the wrong. Tell him to get some money and he won't have to worry about other people paying for his expenses. Not the asshole. Create a group chat and call him out on this BS. It's not your responsibility of obligation to gift your brother an expensive vacation, especially when you can't afford to do it. Your brother is an ass. Am I the asshole for selling one of my best friend's Taylor Swift tickets after an argument? I don't usually do this, but all my friends are either not speaking to me or really angry with me, but I think I'm in the right. For context to this story, I, 19F, bought the tickets to the Liverpool June 13 Taylor Swift concert for me, and 2 of my friends. They both sent me the money and it was all set. We were all planning our outfits together with us all wanting to go as our favorite era. My friend, 20F, introduced me to Taylor as while I heard her on the radio I was never a huge fan, but when 1989 came out she recommended me songs she'd thought I would like. And I did like them. She was always the Taylor Swift superfan, but I like Blondie too. Ever since leaving high school though we've been drifting apart. We met up recently to go hang out and do some shopping. We were catching up at lunch but I started to feel like she wasn't really listening to me and only talked about herself. She's always been like that. She's only in a conversation if it's about her or her interests. So, another important thing about me is I've always been insecure about my weight. My friend knows this. While we were shopping for clothes I picked out a really pretty dress and said I liked it. She just kind of stared at me and said it wouldn't look good on me. I couldn't really picture myself in it. I went and looked around the rest of the shop. I didn't buy anything but my friend decided to buy something, that same dress. It really annoyed me. She's always been thinner than me and made a point to talk about people complimenting her on her amazing body. We had been in a couple shops by this point. She wanted to go home but I hadn't found anything. I was looking for a dress to wear out clubbing. We went into another shop and I found something but again she said it didn't look right when she saw me try it on. At this point I was sick of her saying this stuff so I asked what she meant. She said it just didn't look right. I asked her again. She said it made my legs look weird. How? I asked. She went, "It just doesn't fit you. I can see all your rolls." God. I was really hurt. That was the exact reason I hate wearing anything tight. I just shouted, "Well, it wouldn't look good on you either, mate." I left the shop and went home. I had a coworker who really wanted to see Taylor as well so I asked her to send me the money and the ticket would be hers. She's never been that quick, not even at work. I sent my friend the money back and then before I could even text her she called me. She was asking me why she'd done that and I told her I wouldn't go to the concert with her and I didn't want to be friends with her anymore. She shouted at me, calling me names but I just hung up. I'm not budging. All our friends are blowing up my phone saying I'm being unfair and to give her back her ticket. She keeps trying to call me. Am I the asshole? Update. I put this in comments but got downvoted to hell. I've been keeping an eye on the thread and everyone agrees I'm the asshole. Thanks for responding. I've given my ticket to my ex-friend. Then I'm going to avoid her because she's only ever made me feel bad about myself, especially with the comments she has made about my body. I've told my coworker as per comments advice. She can go to the concert and I hope she enjoys it. It's standing so she doesn't have to hang out with them and she doesn't want to as she thinks my friend's the A. I think I'll just go out clubbing in another dress that I genuinely like. Again, thanks for the response. You are the asshole. You asked her honest opinion not to lie, and she freaking paid for the ticket and had it in her calendar. That was a very shitty thing to do. If you did it angry, you are the asshole. Always. Since she paid for the ticket, it was no longer yours to do with as you wanted. It was her property. So selling it to a coworker is wrong. At this point, if you don't want to go to the concert with her or be friends with her, is to give your ticket to your coworker and the other tickets to your friends. This is the easiest way out, where you don't go to the concert with them and don't create a weird situation with your coworker. That was an asshole thing to do, but I don't think it was wrong. Sometimes being an asshole is the correct response. From the story, she wanted to her lies instead of the God-honest trust, and honestly it shows in today's society. Am I the asshole for asking my girlfriend to honor our agreement and pay half of the rent? My GF, 29F, and I, 31M, have been dating for 4 years. She was an RN for the biggest hospital in the city we used to live in that was hard hit by the pandemic. She was struggling at the time and then went on medical leave for a few months to recover. I covered most of rent for those few months, which was hard because I made half of what she did and had to work a lot of overtime. Then she got back to work and decides to become a travel nurse. She made 3x as much and said the work was horrible, but at least she made more. She did that for a year and noticed that most of where she was needed was in a city we had talked about wanting to move to. I also had wanted to move there, but it was so expensive, so I couldn't afford it. She said she could get a contract for working locally, within 50 miles, of the city and still make a travel nurse's salary. She would be a local travel nurse and not have to fly or live away from home a lot, which she had to before. So I agreed to move, and we moved 14 months ago. She worked another year and got burnt out from the work. She took lots of overtime and tried to work as much as possible, even when I told her she was behaving weirdly. Then she had a full mental breakdown at work. She got scared of going out of the house and she said couldn't work without extreme anxiety. She wants to take disability leave, which her work provides insurance for, but would only pay her around $2,200 per month in income for 6 months. She paid most of the rent for a year. She paid $2,000 and I paid $800 for rent. And she was working so hard because she went from $60,000 of student loans to $4,000 of student loans in 2 years. While sending money to her mom because her mom is disabled and disability isn't enough. But now she wants me to pay $1,800 in rent while she pays $1,000 because short-term disability doesn't pay much. But my job doesn't make much. I make $3,100 a month after taxes and I have student loans payments as well. So we are in a hard position, but she has an emergency fund of $8,000. I told her to use that to pay at least 50-50 with me, but she argues she paid more rent than me most of the relationship and it's now time for me to do my part. She wants me to go back to construction, which is extremely grueling. I could make $5,000 per month in construction, which I used to do before we met, but it killed my body and I still can't lift my right arm high because of an injury my company denied. I was a scaffolder. She thinks she worked like crazy for us to move to a better city and paid most of the rent for years, so I should make the sacrifice to go back to construction and keep us afloat for 4-6 months while she goes to therapy and tries to get rid of her agoraphobia so she can go back to work. But she is the reason we moved to this city and she promised to cover most of the rent so we could. Even moving back is expensive now. But I think she should pay at least 50-50 so I don't have to go back to construction. You are the asshole. I don't see how this benefits me, so why should I do it? That woman knows she can take care of herself. You're just giving her a reason to do it. For a year she paid $2,000 and you only paid $800. At that point it was not 50-50. Agreements change when life situations change. Your GF isn't well right now and needs extra support. Sit down together to talk about a solution. Going with you are the asshole because you're not supporting your girlfriend, which should be obvious in a relationship. It works both ways because you're supposed to be a team. However, when you move somewhere, especially if it's expensive, you normally plan these things beforehand. You look at the finances and go over the possibility. What if someone loses their job? Can we still afford it then? In my opinion, this should have been discussed before moving. I think the only fair thing is moving to a place you can afford. Am I the asshole for ignoring my sisters after they weren't there in my time of need? I, 29F, won't say the diagnosis, but it causes me to be ill very often. It's a miracle if there's 1 week where I'm not sick. This diagnosis means I'm prone to getting ill and will often easily pick up whatever my work colleagues or anyone who is sick and is around me has. My immune system is weak, and whereas people are often told to rest and take paracetamol, ibuprofen, I have to go to my GP for solid antibiotics to fight this infection as my immune system can't. Although I have this diagnosis, I don't talk about it or complain and get on with the day. Anyway, this is a recent issue. About 3 weeks ago, I became ill. This was the worst type of illness I experienced, and my doctor booked me in for a next-day appointment and diagnosed me with what she thought was the diagnosis and what she thought was the correct treatment. I came home and took the treatment but didn't feel better after a few days, so I called my doctor, who upped the dosage. Usually, although I'm ill, I'm alright on my own, but I just was so poorly I couldn't get out of bed for this illness. I asked my oldest sister if she could just come down and look after me for a few hours, and she said she couldn't, which I respected as she does have a 1-year-old son now. I asked my middle sister, who's currently unemployed, and she just said no, and I'm not going to lie, I was pissed with her. A few days later, I felt worse and decided to call the ambulance, and the paramedics said I developed sepsis. This was the scariest moment of my life as my mum passed away due to sepsis 2 years ago. I was so scared I couldn't stop crying, and the paramedic comforted me. We went to A&E, and they phoned my NOC, and my oldest sister, who is NOC, said she couldn't come down. My best friend, however, drove straight down from work to be with me. Since then, I've fully recovered from sepsis but haven't recovered mentally, if I'm honest, and the thing is, what I find difficult is whenever my sisters are ill or need money, it's always me coming down to look after them even though I have a weak immune system. I always lend them money as I don't have financial circumstances. The only person here for me in my time of need is my best friend. I'm pissed and upset with my sisters for not being there, and I felt they would know what I would think due to what happened with Mum. I haven't spoken to my sisters since then, yet they still try to call me and text me but say I'm being an asshole for being upset and ignoring them just because they weren't at the hospital. Certain family members have said I'm being childish and pathetic, and it's about time I grew up. I feel a bit guilty for not messaging my sisters, and I wonder if I'm the asshole for being upset with them and taking it too far? Not the asshole. I'd be crushed. It sounds like your sisters only care when it's convenient for them, and none of them are acknowledging that you could have died. What if you passed out and didn't wake up before phoning the ambulance? Not the asshole. Your best friend is precious, please treasure that person. Remember this famous quote, "Blood of the covenant is thicker than water of the womb." Your true family are people who values you and holds you up when you are down. These people may not be related by blood. Not the asshole. You have to stop helping them regardless of the circumstances. The next time your sisters ask for money, tell them to ask the same family members who called you childish and pathetic for help. I know it will be hard to stop helping, especially with one sister having a child. But just remember, when you was rushed to the hospital, neither came to check on you. Feel absolved of your guilt. Not good for your health anyways. Prioritize yourself or no one will. You're not an asshole. Not the asshole. Do not feel bad for cutting off people that don't give a damn about your well-being. Glad you are doing okay.